What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Back with my post-fight. I want to talk about Sergey Kovalev and Mohammedi, which was the main event. Now, before I get into that, let me talk about the undercard, because I think the undercard was overall a better, more competitive fight, and that was Jean Pascal versus Gonzalez. Now, for starters, let me put it out there. I didn't actually score the fight, but I'm pretty good scoring in my head. I take account, and I also do live tweets, so you can read some of my tweets, what I had to say in between rounds or whatnot, and that helps me when I'm making up my scorecard, building it in my head. So again, I didn't do a physical scorecard, but I had Gonzalez winning. I thought he decisively won. Overall, he took some good shots, and don't get me wrong, it was a competitive fight. Jean Pascal had moments, but I think Gonzalez had more moments. He looked strong. He took Pascal's shots pretty well, and most importantly, he kept pressing the attack forward. And I didn't really sense, like, I think round 9 it was, Pascal, that was a do or die championship round because it was only a 10-round fight. And Pascal, I thought, needed to at least try to own to make an argument. He'd have to get a knockout, really, but at least own the championship rounds, because some of the rounds were close. You never know how people are going to score. But Pascal was on the back foot. He was more evading. He wasn't bringing the fight to Gonzalez, and Gonzalez was constantly coming forward, constantly letting his hands go, putting punches together. Now, I think Gonzalez, at times, he had some slapping, chopping punches that he probably could have hurt Pascal more had they been sharper, and he turned his punches better. But either way, based on the activity level, the aggression, and the powerful shots he was landing and doing more of, I had him clearly winning the fight from the eye test. No disrespect to Pascal. He put on a good fight. They both showed chins. They both showed heart. But I thought Gonzalez did more. So a lot of people agree with me that it was kind of a robbery where the bigger name won the fight just for the sake of him being a bigger name, and probably easier to promote, like a rematch with Kovalev or this and that fight. But I had Gonzalez winning. Main event, easy work. I don't think it was really a surprise to anyone. I didn't even bother doing a prediction because there wasn't really a reason to. Now, I have no shame in Kovalev taking this fight. It's a mandatory. You gotta, if you're a title holder, you're a belt holder, you gotta do what you gotta do and take care of your mandatories. So I have no problem with that. It was an easy work fight. He already fought Pascal this year, and that was a good, more competitive fight. Then he's doing his mandatory. No problem with that. But it was pretty much easy work. The first round, Kovalev, I gave Kovalev all the rounds, really. Second round, he dropped him, and he looked, Mohammedi looked hurt. He didn't look like his legs were stable up underneath him. And there was a sequence of tumbling and wrestling, and where they were ruled as slips after the initial knockdown, which bought Mohammedi time. Otherwise, he probably would have got stopped in the second round. But he made it to the bell. Third round came out, and Sergey Kovalev just pieced him up, finished business, and you could tell he wasn't getting up. It looked like, I don't know, like his nose was broken. He has the bridge of his nose is very prominent, and I don't know, he was just clutching, like his eyes were watering or something, like his orbital bone or his nose or something might have got broke. But it was a nice two-piece by Kovalev. The crusher returns with that power. Now, the thing I like about Kovalev too is Kovalev, he at times he seems like a very menacing person, where emotionally he'll do game plan A, and then he'll know how to calm it back down. And I've seen this in multiple fights. Jean Pascal, another fight. Kovalev, he was kind of getting a little bit reckless, trying to be very aggressive, and Jean Pascal was landing some good counter shots, and it looked like it was buzzing Kovalev a little bit. So what I like about Kovalev is he knows when to turn it on and off and go back to more or less the fundamentals and the basics. And I told people for the longest why, if you go listen to my prediction, I was one of the only people that thought that Kovalev would beat Bernard Hopkins, at least that made boxing videos on YouTube, right? And in my prediction, I had Kovalev winning. He's an underrated boxer. He's not just this Ruslan Provatnikov where he's one-dimensional. Thing I liked about him also tonight was his jab, and he knows how to finish guys. So just having a good jab is great for releasing that power. And he was just hitting Mohammedi with some brutal rights. And it looked like there was some bad blood because Abel Sanchez, who trains Gennady Golovkin, used to train Kovalev. And I guess the two had a war of words and interviews in the media. So Kovalev really wanted to hurt Sanchez's fighter, which is Mohammedi. And he did just that. And it was pretty easy work. Not much else to say. It was easy work, all-round score for Kovalev. And That's what you're supposed to do to your mandatory or a person with those type of odds, and he did just that. So props to Kovalev on another win, still undefeated, continues his knockout streak. And the man, I mean, the man's a beast. For the future, they talked about Andre Ward in a couple of fights, possibly facing Kovalev. I'm all for that fight. We want to see what Andre Ward decides, especially since Triple G is fighting Lemieux now. So that's one less candidate. There's other guys at 168. A lot of people will say, oh, a couple years ago, it was to a point where Andre Ward had cleaned house and there wasn't really any names at 168. But I still think now there's a couple of names that he could stick around 168 for and then fight Kovalev. Names like the winner of Badou Jack versus George Groves, James DeGale, even at Anthony or Andre Durrell are good fights, especially since he hasn't been that active. And then I would pursue the move up. I don't think, personally, from what I talked to, when I talked to Ward's team, I didn't really get the inkling that he was going to necessarily go plunge right into 175. And again, I just don't see him fighting Kovalev next, but it's a good future fight. Kovalev, a Jean Pascal fight, the first fight was fun, but I don't really see the difference or an outcome being different. I would really like to see Artur Beterbiev, who's with Al Heyman now, so I don't know if they can make that with main events, because I think they typically work exclusively with HBO. That's a fight I would like to see. Even a Gonzalez fight, he showed enough grit and toughness. That would be an interesting fight where they possibly could make as a stay busy fight or whatever for Kovalev, a title defense against a strong guy, big guy. That's really my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of the fight. The first fight left a bad taste though, because I thought Gonzalez, I felt bad. He started crying at the end. Really felt bad for him. To see a fighter put it all on the line and try, and the public consensus is they won, but the three people who matter, aka the judges, don't give you a fair shake. I think that's kind of shitty. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like my video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.